Hey CK friends, it's Kay from Closet Keepsakes. I'm here with another trendy thrift fashion video for you all today. So today I wanted to talk about thrifting items, and when you get an item or find an item when you're thrifting that you kind of like, but you're like, something needs to change up on this, and you need to do some things in order to make it suitable for you and your personal style. So I'm going to give you 10 quick, simple, easy things that you can do that don't really require like a whole lot of sewing or skill and technique and craftiness in order to do. Now y'all know I don't sew, so I'm letting you know these are tips that I can do. If you're a seamstress, you got them type of skills in your bag, this is all about you. But hey, so for all of us who ain't in that, category, this is for you for show. So the first item or tip that I have, I'm actually wearing an example of it. It is this kind of, you might not be able to see it in the video, but it's kind of like sweatshirt material top. This shirt actually came as a long sleeve top, and it was layered. So it had like this little part on top of another sleeve. It was long and kind of had like a bell shaped opening here at the wrist. And I didn't like this. So I ended up, lifting up this part and actually cutting the long sleeve out of it. So that's my tip number one, is you can always cut pieces off. Sometimes that piece, there's that one piece that's just ruining the whole thing, so don't be afraid to get your scissors and cut it off. Now let me say, like, I'm not a seamstress, but I know this. You got to be mindful of the material when doing this, because of course some fabrics are going to fray and tatter and fall apart if you cut on them without closing up or making that hem clean. So you did want to be mindful of the material. So that might require some sewing technique and skill or ability if there's a fabric that's not going to stay in place. Like I said, this is like sweatshirt material, so this is fine. And also, this part right here was already interlocked, so it's not an issue. It's not going to fray. Like t-shirt material is another one that you can cut up and cut off and things like that. And, you could wash it or roll up a little bit on you, but it's not going to typically fray. You don't have to cut the whole thing apart, but it could be something like cutting off a pocket or something like that, or cutting off sleeves. So that is definitely something that definitely changes the whole look of an item, or can change the look of an item and make it more suitable for you. Simple and easy. Okay, so tip number two is add removable embellishments. So these are embellishments. I'm not talking about trying to put all the bedazzle, gems, and glitter, and like, that's out for me. Like, I don't do that either. I'm not that crafty. Some of you guys are, but that's, once again, I'm not that crafty. I'm talking about things that you can take on, put off whenever you feel like it. You don't have to kind of have that permanency on your garment or item. So things like brooches. Now I know brooches can be very old school, but I love brooches because they're just like portable jewelry that you can add to anything. This is an example, and for those who don't know, because I know sometimes I get younger people asking me like, well, what is that? This piece of jewelry actually has like a pin, kind of like a button, that you can just pull it through and fasten. That's the back of it. And you can add and remove this to anything, a jacket, a shirt, pants, whatever you want to add it to, and it's fine. Another thing that you can add that's simply removable, and it's also kind of old school, but I love old school items, and it's inappropriate for this time of year. It's way too hot for this, but it'll work in the winter and fall, is adding collars. Now, it doesn't have to be a full fur collar. You can add different types of collar, but the great thing about these is they already have the clamps in the back for you to attach. So you just attach it to the collar of whatever you're already wearing. So this would connect to the collar of a jacket or a shirt. I love these things, and sometimes you can find these in the thrift stores as well. You can also find them, sometimes they have button holes here on the edge or on the back where you could just button it onto your item if it also has a button where you can, attach it. So that's another tip. That's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is you can tatter it. Now, this is a trend that comes and goes, and different versions of it become suitable. So tattering denim is a very popular thing that, like I said, comes and goes. And it's simple to do. So I'll give an example of a tattered item. So this jacket has a whole lot of tattering on it, actually. But as you can see, having tatters on it changes it from just being a light colored denim jacket. It's very simple to do. All you have to do is either get a razor blade or scissors and cut slits in it. And then you can pull out the strings if you like to make it give it more of that tattered look. And then all you do is wash it and it starts to fray. And you can add more. You might want to start just with a couple cuts and see how it goes and then add to it. Pulling out the strings gives it more of this kind of effect as well. So this is a very simple thing that you can do to change the look of your denim items that you're getting from the thrift store. Another thing you could do with your denim is add bleach. Now I'm giving this spray bottle as an example because we have seen so many renditions of bleach on denim. We have acid wash, we have stone wash, we have seeing even kind of the tie-dye effect on denim. You could do so many things. To get the acid wash, typically they're doing something like this, using a spray bottle and spraying it on the denim, letting it dry. But you can add bleach to your denim in various patterns or variations and change the look of it as well. And you could create your own pattern and look. So that's very simple, easy, no sewing required. And I would definitely say after you bleach it, kind of let it dry out. And if you get the look you want, you might want to wash them just so, make everything settle and be cool. Okay, so this is another old school kind of tip or idea, but I love it. I'm just about the vintage. Is elbow patches. I love elbow patches. I'm going to show you an example. It's this denim jacket. It's more of a denim blazer. It has a button right there in the front. But as you can see, it has these brown elbow patches on the back that match the button. And it's a different material. It's like a suede material. So the textures are contrasting, which I love as well. Elbow patches, oh my gosh. 1, they iron on. 2, they're affordable. So you can get them at Walmart. You can get them at Joann's fabric store, whatever fabric store is near you. Cheap. And they iron on. Like, you don't have to know how to sew to put on an elbow patch, which is great. You can find them in different textures. You can find them in different colors. Some of them have patterns. And you can add them to, like I said, blazers, jackets, sweaters, cardigans. You can even add them to shirts and just change the look of your shirt with an elbow patch. I love it. So simple, so easy, and affordable. Another thing you could do is change out the buttons on your shirts, blouses, blazers, and jackets, and sweaters like a cardigan if you have them. Now, the thing you want to make sure of is that the buttons that you're choosing to switch them out for are the same size as the buttons that are currently on the garment, and that it'll fit through the hole so you can actually fasten your item. And this can really change the look. So like say you have an all black blouse that has black buttons. You can switch them out for gold buttons and it changes the look totally. Simple and easy. And this is great for thrift items that might be missing buttons and you're not able to find another match for the ones that are on there. Or if you just want to change it up and find something different. Perfect, simple, easy. Now I know this requires some sewing, but it doesn't take a lot of sewing skill. This is the one sewing thing I can do. All you have to do is put the string through the holes and tie it through the back. Make sure it's through the holes enough to make the item or the button tight enough to the garment so it doesn't fall off, of course. But this is easy, simple and easy. And buttons can be very affordable. Now they can get pricey, but they're very affordable. You can find them, like I said, Walmart, any fabric store, craft store. They typically have buttons. Sometimes you can even find brand new buttons at the thrift store, or maybe you have an old garment that you planned on getting rid of anyway and they're suitable. Cut them off and put them on your new garment or your new thrifted garment. So that's simple, easy, and it can totally change the look of your item. Another thing you can do is switch out the belt. So sometimes you get items or find items that come belted. They have the little, little things on the sides or on the back, and they have a belt already attached, and the belt, typically matches the garment and things like that. So I have an example. It's this vest. This is now, of course, for fall and winter because it's thick and warm, but it has a belt that's the same exact material as the vest. And of course it has the little loops on the side, on both sides of it. Now, something you can do is just remove the belting, and depending on the loops and what they look like, just wear it open, wear it, without the belts, should I say. Because sometimes it's shirts, sometimes it's dresses, sometimes it's something like this, a vest or a jacket. You can also switch out the belt. Now, this belt would not fit through the loops. You could find something that fits through the loops of your garment, or you could find something that's wide enough to cover up the loops and just wear it on top. I think this is a very simple and easy way. You can add texture with something like this. You can add color. You can add a variety of embellishments. If you have a belt that has like studs on it or something like that to your garment or to your item by just switching out the belt. Simple, easy, quick, and affordable. You don't even have to buy anything new. Now, if you find something new that you like, you can definitely do that. Another thing that you can do that's simple and easy is either add or subtract shoulder pads. Now, shoulder pads is another one that comes and goes and comes and goes. Right now, shoulder pads are back, but it's in a particular way. So you want to be mindful. A lot of times what really changes it up throughout the decades is the amount of padding and where it's sitting in the top or in the jacket. So you can add shoulder pads. You can switch out shoulder pads, especially if you have like an old vintage item that the padding in the shoulder pad is like really, really thick and you want to make it, a little more modern. You can find shoulder pads that are a little less padded. But it's simple and easy. Now, this is something you might have to do some sewing on if you want to kind of keep it in there permanently, but you can definitely pin these in. Sometimes they come where you can Velcro it and things like that. There's different variations. So you have to kind of look around. Once again, these are affordable. You can find them at Walmart. You can also find them at the fabric store, at craft stores. You don't have to spend a lot of money on shoulder pads. You can even take shoulder pads out of one garment and add them to another garment. Very easy. If you don't know how to sew or you can't find a way to keep your shoulder pads in a way that you could wear it, you can definitely take it to the cleaners or to a seamstress and have them add them in. And it shouldn't cost you much for that either. Okay, so my next tip is you can use paint, fabric paint. Let me be clear. And actually, I guess depending on the garment, I'm talking about clothing. So you can also paint other, thrifted items, but garments, you could use fabric paint to actually paint just a part of the garment. Not talking about changing the total color, just a part of the garment. So for example, it could be the collar or the neckline. It could be the cuff of the shirt or the jacket. It could be the hem of a pant, especially if it's cuffed at the bottom as well. It could be a pocket. It could just be a part of the actual garment or item. And that can add a pop of color. It can mute it down. It's up to you whatever color you want to add, but it definitely is going to change the look of that particular item. So that is something that's simple and easy. You want to make sure that you're using fabric paint or the appropriate paint for the fabric that you have in the garment. So it's not, ruining anything. You definitely don't want to do that, but you just want to make sure you're using the appropriate items on your clothing. Another one is you can dye it. So along the same lines of changing the color, if you want to change the entire color, you can dye the item. Now, dye is pretty affordable. I think the prices kind of go up over the years, but it's pretty affordable. You could change the color totally, or you can make a pattern similar to the bleach. You could do tie-dye. You can use a spray bottle and spray it on in different parts and just make your own pattern, your own design out of different garments and clothing. So that's something that's simple and easy. It doesn't take a lot. You just want to make sure you're following the instructions on the dye packet, as well as you're, making sure that the garment and the fabric is appropriate for the dye that you're using. Okay, so this is my last tip. You can change the hemline. Now, I know a lot of us are familiar with, hey, we're about to cut off these jeans and make some shorts. Like, that's simple, easy. That definitely applies. And that works totally well for denim, because once again, you can just wash it and it'll start to fray on the end or whatever. If you don't sew and you're fine with that look, it's perfect. But you can also do this with long skirts. You can do this with pants that might be too long, or that you just want to change the look of. Maybe they're long, but you want to make them like capris, or you just want to make them a little bit shorter. You don't want them necessarily to be shorts. Or maybe they're not denim and you want them to be a little shorter. Skirts, like I said, the same thing. Simple and easy. You could cut them. Now, this particular tip does require some sewing if it's not denim and the fabric is going to fray. You definitely want to make sure that if you don't have the skills, abilities, and equipment to do this, that you take it to a seamstress or to a dry cleaners to have this done. One quick tip on this: if you're hemming pants to make them suitable for your height, you definitely want to make sure that you're marking them ahead of time, or that you're bringing in the shoes that you would typically wear with that pair of pants, so that they're hemmed to the appropriate length. A lot of people don't think about that, but you don't want to wear flats, have the person mark them, and then you plan on wearing heels with them. It's gonna look like your pants are flooding at the bottom. So you definitely want to make sure that you're aware of that you have the appropriate shoes for the hem that you desire. So those are my tips. I hope that that's helpful, and that some of these things that are will be easy and simple for you to do with your thrift items. And you don't even have to use them just on your thrift items. Any items that you want to kind of change the look of, you're not ready to get rid of, but you want something a little new, this will do it for you. So thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, thumbs up, and share with a friend. And I will see you on the next Trendy Thrift video.